Hi and welcome to this special episode on MelVee Testimonies. We're really focusing on marriage. Of all the institutions God could have created, He created one that's called marriage. And we have a special guest this week who's talking about a book that they have written. They've expressed their thoughts and put them down for us to read them. I'm your host from MelVee Productions. My name is Melusi Ndhlalambi, and I want to welcome Maureen Ngwenya. Greetings, and how are you, my good?
Thank you, I'm fine. Thank you so much.
Good to see you again.
Thank you very much.
Now, you broke the jinx. You finally published a book. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And I'm hoping this is not the last one.
Actually, it's the second one.
Wow.
Yes.
So there's a first one that's supposed to come.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Wonderful. So I want to spend time talking to families out there, but particularly young women. When I looked through this book, I realized that you've titled it Best Before.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the titles, what did you have in mind when you said Best Before? What did you really want to communicate with that title? Because I'm almost tempted to say you must aspire to inspire someone before you expire. Because we know the living shall die one day, or you will exit the stage of life.
Yes.
But before you do you act and do it well? So what did you have in mind here? And I see it's really focused on marriage, and it's a guideline.
Yes. When I thought about that title, it was inspired by thinking there are things that our young people need to know.
Okay.
They are best to know before they get into anything.
I see. So it's really looking at do first things first. So let's talk about a few of those things. So on the outset, a young woman out there might be listening to you right now. She's thinking, best before. I want us to talk about 3 key things that you laid out in the first 4 chapters. And I saw that you talked about God first. And then you also talked about the importance of marriage. In fact, you said marriage. And then you said in marriage, God must be first. And then you say you must love your mate. So in that triangle, I want us to talk about, I call it a triangle.
Okay.
Yes. So there's God there, there's me there, there's my wife or my partner there. What are the key principles that must govern these 3 entities? I just want us to spend the next 15 or so minutes just extracting your thoughts. And I'm hoping for our viewers out there, you'll then be appetized to want to read the complete book and get to know what the author has in mind. So let's talk about marriage. Of all subjects, you chose marriage. Why?
I think marriage can make or break a person. Even with the best of education, if you marry wrong, marriage can crumble your life.
Yeah.
We've seen people who have disintegrated by just marrying wrong. But if you marry right, then you know marriage should be an investment. It's like if you make a bad investment, you are the biggest loser. Wow. If you invest well, you enjoy your investment.
All right.
Yes. So I think marriage is not something that you just wake up and say, I'm getting married.
Yes.
It's something that you need to sit down, and we need to know God's mind concerning marriage, because marriage is not a people's thing.
Yes.
Marriage belongs to God. And I personally think that people who do not believe in God should not even get married.
Wow, that's a bold statement you're saying
they
there.
shouldn't.
So if you don't know God, you don't need to get married, because marriage is an institution God
designed. It's God's big idea.
Wow.
So to succeed in that institution, you need to depend and understand the maker's mind of that institution.
Yes.
But if you are going to go into an institution that you deny the authority to be participant of that, it doesn't make sense. Because we can only succeed by attaching ourselves to the idea, how God wants it to succeed.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think talking about success, because that's what you're saying in this book, you want to give women a guide to a successful marriage. And already I can hear from your opening statement, without God, marriage can't run properly.
No.
And so what part of of that element, because you said put God first, what does it mean for an individual sitting out there who may not know God, may not have believed in God, or maybe they believe and they go to church, but the concept of putting God first, they don't understand what that means. Maybe if you could just break it down a little bit and say, what does it mean to know God?
To know God is there is only, for me, one way of knowing God is searching his mind in the Bible.
All right.
He's got a manual that he's put his mind concerning anything, concerning the institution of marriage. What has God said?
Yeah.
So before I get into it, I want to know what God says about marriage.
Yes.
And he says it clearly, husbands, love your wives. Many people are marital illiterate.
Marital illiterate. You heard that? I wish we could just break down these nuggets. There's just too many. Maritally illiterate.
Yes, they don't know what marriage is all about. They are clueless what marriage is all about. Many people go into marriage for selfish reasons. It's all about them. But marriage is bigger than that. If you read the book of Malachi 2:15,
yes,
God says he's looking for a godly
seed.
Yes. So with marriage, that is, it's much bigger than what we think.
Yes.
So we need to understand what we are doing as we get into marriage.
Yeah.
And not just...
I'm quite encouraged because even as MelVee Productions, one of our primary strategic focus areas is the marriage. And we've been married for almost 19 years now.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
I look young though, eh? But it's been
we call you marriage veterans.
Veterans. We already, I was at a camporee recently and I had all couples introducing themselves. It made me feel like a grandfather. Oh. Because they were like 3 months in marriage, 1 year in, and I was like, wow, 19 years is a lot.
Yes.
In our ministry, I think we put marriage first, and this is why we're doing this interview. Especially because we've got a resource that we think should help people out there. So marriage is a primary focus area for us. And one of the reasons is because when God created this universe, I mean, you do business, you do entrepreneurship from your profile. We set up a lot of departments in governments to run our countries. Lots of units, lots of operations to run the whole universe. But when God created this universe, he set up one institution to run the whole universe. It was a man and a woman, and they put them together and he joined them. And he gave them dominion. I don't know an organization that has dominion. If they do dominion, we say that's monopoly. But God gave monopoly to the family to dominate the whole world. And that's why I like the idea you're bringing that says marriage is bigger than the two individuals. Because God's goal in putting them together was that they should multiply.
Yes.
And they should replenish the earth. And therefore, that's why certain unions that we're now defining as marriage, I'm not talking to the world out there, my policymakers, my leaders, fellow colleagues who are pushing policies that are anti-marriage as God designed it. We're actually destroying an institution we have no control over. And God is a gentleman. He will step aside. And then you'll see the consequences that attend us. So I think it is important, you've highlighted, it is important to put God first. But you also define marriage here with a very powerful catchy statement I want to read, and I want you to comment what you meant, because I see you write strongly about it. Marriage is a bed of roses, but you cannot have roses without the thorns.
Okay.
And I heard you talk about some young girls who go in with this grand idea of what marriage is, and then at the first argument, they bolt out. And you say marriage is not for losers, it is for those who fight. So tell us about marriage having thorns.
Marriage is a mix of the good and the bad. Doesn't mean if we say a marriage is successful, it's all good things happening every day. Actually, disagreements are healthy.
All right.
Because they give you a platform to know what your spouse likes or dislikes.
Yes.
If there is no argument, it tells us of a suffering, silent partner. For the sake of peace, some will just keep quiet, but they are not happy.
Yes.
They are grumbling inside, they are being dragged along, but marriage has everything. You find everything. There are days where we laugh like there is no sorrow in the world, and there are days when you get so angry at your spouse, you wonder what made you choose that person. But that's what marriage is all about. The person maybe is ever changing. The person you fell in love with, the one you married and the one you stay with are not
Yes.
It's not the same person, but that's marriage.
Yes. And that's why I think your book makes a lot of sense. Because when you meet with the thorns in the marriage, if you did not prepare yourself well, put on the right gloves, put on the right gear to clip the thorns, you will leave the roses.
Yeah, sure.
And you will miss out on the fun and the aroma.
Yeah.
And so it is important to our viewers, especially young women, young men out there, get the foundation right. And I'm reminded of that story that I always share. I think it was Pastor Wintley Phipps who said it before in one of his sermons. New York finds a building cracked at the 20th floor. And the engineers were called and they were told there's a fault on the 20th floor. They didn't go up there.
They went down.
They went to the basement and discovered that there's a whole wall that's missing that was supposed to anchor the building. So the foundation needs to be right.
Definitely.
Otherwise the whole structure will crack.
Will collapse, yeah.
And therefore you then say here, I love the statement you said here, love God and it will be easy to love your spouse in that order.
Yes.
So tell us about why in that order.
We know God is love. His kingdom is all about love. And he has a winning formula for love.
Yes.
For lovers. He says, if you love one another, people will know that you are my disciples.
All right.
He even says, if you love someone, you are patient with them. That's Corinthians.
Yes.
You can stand there. You do not judge them.
Yes.
You are willing to work with their, whatever you call their weaknesses,
and
which might not be weaknesses, but your perceptions.
Absolutely.
Yes. So when you love someone, you are willing to work with. We are all work in progress, and we should be willing to patiently work with what we find in our spouse is not so.
And I guess once we, and I think this is quite profound, and I would encourage our viewers to really take time to watch that chapter, loving God and putting God first, because only when God is right in your heart will you be willing to tolerate. But also the other aspect I loved is that you can't give what you don't have. So you can't love if you've not been loved and you don't have love in you. That's a powerful concept. And I think when I went through the book and I realized this is quite a massive concept. However, most young people, when they look for their partners, and you address it in this book, the foundation, they don't look for the character. They don't look for the love. They look for the looks. The container. So tell us about the container and the contents.
They look, you know, what you see is a container. What you fall in love with is a container. Even when we go look for perfumes, what attracts us first is the container.
Yes.
It's only when you spray it and the smell is not quite what I thought it was.
Yes.
So in marriage, what we really fall in love with is the container. The contents, you see them as you get into the marriage. When you start experiencing life, because marriage is a reality.
Yes.
Marriage is not, you know, a game. Even when you get married, you don't fully know the person.
Yes.
But when you get married and then you are in the marriage, that's when you begin to realize, oh, so he knows. Oh, okay. So he gets angry. He's human. He gets angry. He's not that smart after all. She is not this. Oh, he's not patient.
All right.
We discover things about our spouse that we didn't realize. Because at times we just meet at church, you are all smart with a tie, suit, you're holding your great controversy, whilst you are the controversial one.
And no one knows all that. It's all hidden in the contents. You see, that's the beauty now of having God on your side and knowing God first.
Yes.
Because only God knows our contents.
True.
And it is only God who can match characters perfectly to create the beauty of marriage. And that's why for our young people out there, before you select the container, you must ask the one who knows the contents to reveal and show you whether he or she is the one or not.
I also think our young people need to stop focusing on the other person. Work on you, your relationship with God. At times we put such a high expectation on the other person, that which we ask yourself, will you marry you if you were to choose? Would you
Wow.
marry you? Are you the marriageable type? Would you choose you if you were to picking a partner?
Yes.
The way your prayer life, the way you do things, your patience, your
impatience, and
yes,
all of
your temperaments. Would you pick you? If not, then work on being the best find.
Yes.
Yes.
So be the right partner. Don't look for the right partner. Be the right one. Now,
Yes.
let's wrap this segment on talking about loving your mate. And I guess you're still threading through that concept of God is love. And what sustains marriage is not that you're all beautiful. It's not that you've got careers.
No.
It's not that you've got beautiful children. It's nothing of any of the externals of the containers. Even the beauty fades away. Even the job, you can lose it. Even the money can be lost. Kids can die. So what keeps a marriage going? And you say here, it's love. Love without action is just a word. It needs someone to put meaning to it. So tell us about what you're covering in this section, because you really are highlighting the importance of love.
Okay.
Is that it for marriage?
I think the challenge that we have in loving our partners is we are so patient with other people except our partners.
Yes.
Many people are willing to work with difficult bosses.
And go back
They'll
every day.
strategize, go back. No one ever gives up because their boss is difficult. They strategize how to work around and survive their difficult boss.
Wow.
And I think if we adopted that attitude towards our spouse, because we're not socialized by the same parents, environments.
Yes.
I am who I am because of where I grew up and how I grew up. So if I'm expecting my husband to be exactly like me, it becomes boring.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying there is we should, with all the challenges that we find in relationships, choose your partner every day. There are people who are going to come who are more backed up, who have more money than your spouse. Choose your spouse. Some men, some women who speak better than your spouse. Choose your spouse. Yes, choose your spouse every day.
Wow.
That's love. Not that they are. I'm not lying that you are the best that the world is in, but I'm choosing you. I've made a choice, and with God's help, yes, I can love. Even the most difficult person. Yeah. So
I like it when you say love your mate. Loving your mate is a decision you make daily. And the reason is because there are always situations that will challenge that love and that position. So you can't assume that because I loved you 14 years ago, if I haven't told you that I love you, you must know I still do. No. You have to affirm it every day.
It's a new day. It's a new beginning.
Now, so this is just the first part of this book, and I'll encourage you to really buy a copy. So let's talk about where they can get a copy. I see this is a very good, quick read one can do within a few days or even a day. So if people want to buy this book, where can they find it? Obviously, MelVee would like to promote it and put it online there. And we'll obviously put contacts down there, but where else can they get it from?
There's a bookshop for those in South Africa.
South Africa?
Yes, there's a bookshop in Westgate Mall.
All right.
A lifestyle bookshop. They can get it from there.
Yeah.
And for those in Zimbabwe, they can contact me. Wonderful. For now, we're trying to put the book on Amazon. Yes, we're still trying to find a way of registering on PayPal. There are still some challenges.
All right.
And many other bookshops. There are many other avenues that we are trying to... Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So for our viewers, you'll definitely get the contacts on our description down there. For those in South Africa, please get in touch with MelVee. We'll definitely link you up with lifestyle books. I think they're in Westgate and also Maponya Mall. Yes. I've seen them in Maponya Mall. So please do visit them, and happy reading. God bless you, and see you next time.